everybody, we're back in my sewing room again. And if you haven't watched me before, my name is Rosemary and I do a lot of different kinds of crafts and sewing. And right now we're working on a Halloween table runner, and I'll just kind of give you a little preview of what we're doing. And in the last video that we did, I showed you how to use the Brother app to take a picture of a drawing that you've done and send it over to your sewing machine. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take that drawing and turn it into an embroidery so we can put it into our table runner. And hopefully we'll get this project done before it actually reaches Halloween. So let's go to the sewing. So we're back in Design Center, as you can see. And what I need to do is I need to bring this design in. Now remember, before we used this so we could bring it in as an image to look at, just so we could trace around it. This time I'm going to try and turn it into an embroidery just by touching it. So I'm going to touch the line drawing and touch the wireless, and it should be this one on top that I just sent to the machine. Let's hope it's right. So that one's good, and we're going to set that down. And I want to get rid of the carpeting and stuff that's around the outside, so I'm going to move this down and just get it in the white box like that. So now I have that. I'm going to say okay. And that looks pretty good. I like that. So I'm going to hit set. And now I'm going to, you can see I got my carpeting back again. That's a little bit confusing. It's because it's showing me what my original picture was. If I go here, it'll disappear. If I go here, I'll be able to see it even better. So I want it to go down here so it's just my drawing. And I can see right away that some of my drawing is not what I want it to be. It's a little broken up. We do the best we can, but sometimes it doesn't come out if you drew it yourself. So let's fix that. I'm going to hit plus and see where I'm at here. And I can even go plus another time and move my box over here. And I want to draw a straight line. So remember, we're going to use that tool. I got a couple of different straight lines here that I can choose from. This one's going to draw straight. This one's going to draw with a little bit of a wobble to it, maybe. And since they're bones, maybe that's what we want. And I'm going to leave it as a satin stitch because I want it to sew as a satin stitch. And it's black, so that's good. So then I'm going to put my pen down and just draw that. Let's try it again. I'm in a weird angle. So I just fixed that one. And then I think there was one up here. You're going to do a better job because you won't be standing behind a camera trying to get this. So it looks good. Let's see. That looks pretty good. I think most of these look good. So let's zoom back out again. We're going to give it a try. We'll know right away if it's not going to work. So that's a black satin stitch that's around it. Let's fill it with some white. So I'm going to push pour. I'm going to hit here. Oops, sorry. Say okay. We're in the second part. Remember, the second part is the fill. The top part is the outline. So this is our fill. So I'm going to hit this and make it, let's not make it white. I'm going to make it off white. I can put whatever color thread I want in when I get ready to do this, but let's make it off white. And we're going to leave it here because that's our fill. Say okay, pour, and then tap it. See, it didn't work. That's what I was afraid of. If you tap it and it doesn't fill in, that means there's something wrong. So we're going to say undo. I'm going to push plus again. And we're just going to look and see if we can find a broken spot on this somewhere. That looks pretty good. Let's close that part up. There's a broken spot right there. See that? So let's close that up. There we go. Now I'm going to hit pour again, and I'm going to tap it. It worked! Minus. Oops, that one didn't work either. So you can see I need some work to do here. So I'm going to probably stop this, and we'll come back in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I was able to fill it all in. I did have to zoom in on a lot of little parts in here that weren't connected and just make sure they were closed. One of the ways that I always describe it as, it's like pouring water into a bucket that's got a hole in it. If you've got a little teeny tiny hole where it doesn't connect, it doesn't fill in, which is why I said I wanted to trace it with a pin that without picking the pin up, so that I could continue to trace around it and there wasn't any openings, because even though it looks like you closed it, the computer's going to find an opening somewhere. So I managed to close up all my little openings and then fill it with stitches. And so now I'm ready to just see how I did. So I'm going to hit next. And it's showing me my different stitches that I did and how they're going to look. They're all different fill stitches. And then this is all going to be a satin stitch, which I think is what I want. And that's not too wide, so it looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit preview. Okay. That's what I wanted. Isn't that great? It looks really good. I like it. So I'm going to set it down and say okay. And there's my embroidery design. I accidentally saved the background, but that's okay. I can turn that back off. So I'm going to save this in my memory. I can size it later when I get it into the quilt. So I'm going to put memory and then save that in the sewing machine. I also, while I've got your attention, I wanted to show you how I'm going to finish this up by adding some lettering in here. You can make your own appliques out of letters, and all you have to do is pick a letter that you like. So I've got Hallo, and I'm going to do a W and then EEN. So I want to put an N on the end, and I don't want to make it into anything but just a regular applique. So I'm going to use this one because I think this is kind of a fun alphabet. The N isn't perfect. And I'm going to set it down, and then I'm going to push edit and size. And I'm going to size this just as big as I can possibly get it. And then I'm going to say, okay, and come over here and see the flower right here. The flower is going to save a shape, and it would save the shape of any embroidery design that I wanted to use, but it also save a shape of a letter as well. So I'm going to hit the memory button, and that is going to save it into my design center as a pattern. So if I hit home, say okay, and go to my design center, now in my shapes, my circles and my squares, and up here in the little flower, I hope you can see the flower, there's that N that I had created. So I'm going to hit that and say okay. And then I'm going to size that while it's still selected. Since it's a shape now, I'm not limited. I can actually make it as big as I want to make it. And now I've got a big N shape, and I can save that the same way that I showed you before. And if you haven't seen it, go back to my other video that shows you how to take a shape and turn it into an applique. I can make this into an applique and save it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and save it and sew that in to my table runner. And then the next time we come back, I'm going to have the table runner hopefully all embroidered out, and I'm going to show you how to add batting to it, scan it with the app, and do our quilting around the outside edges of it to finish it all up. Okay? So there's the H all sewn out in our table runner, and I've added a little spider web onto it just to add a little dimension. I honestly don't remember where I got it from. I just took it out of my embroidery stash that I have. And you can see that I have created a jack-o'-lantern using the same techniques that we showed in the previous videos. And here's our witch's boots. And then the next time I'm going to do this cauldron. Basically the same techniques done in the design center, but we're going to go ahead and do that. I also wanted to show you the letters at the end here, the EE and the N, that I made doing exactly the same thing that I showed in the last video, taking letters that were in my machine, enlarging them and making them into applique. And then I'm going to show you how to do the quilting that I've already done on this table runner in the design center on your sewing machine. So if you're enjoying this project, please like and subscribe. and I'll see you next time.